Welcome to the Glow Up. Beauty, fitness, and wellness comes from the inside out, where we'll explore how to cultivate health and wellness that radiates from within. They got some words here today make you feel good. Radiate, that thing will come about you right there. Moderating this session is Miss Lisa Price, the founder and president of Curl's Daughter. Somebody beat me to it. All right, that must be Curl's daughter over that thing. Hey, Miss Price, come on over here. Lisa is a beauty industry trailblazer, transforming her love for fragrance, aromatherapy into a groundbreaking empire. Oh, yeah. Representing and coming from humble beginnings in Brooklyn, New York. New York City. Yeah. I don't know who love that city more, New Yorkers or DC people. I'm trying to tell you, we would go to bat for ours. All of this started inside of a kitchen, leading to one of the most celebrated brands. Lisa's journey is an inspiration and has made her an icon in the beauty and wellness industry. Once again, welcome Miss Lisa Price. Woo, I like this crowd right here. Y'all turned today. All right, next, we welcome back Tanika Pack. Tanika Pack. See, I knew it, but they had the phonetics on here. I knew I should have trusted my, you know what I'm saying? She is the founder and CEO. We got some phenomenal women right here. Phenomenal founder and CEO of Impact Fitness. I said that right, Impact Fitness? Oh, yeah. She is a certified fitness and wellness leader. Not one of them personal trainer fellas that be trying to get your girl to come work out. You know what I'm saying? They certified. Wellness leader has become a sought after personal trainer and wellness expert. Tanika's mission is to help women achieve confidence, balance, and health. Make some noise for it once again, y'all. We're also joined by Dr. Ann Bell, a physician researcher and founder of Absolute Joy Skincare. With over 30 years, y'all. 30 years. She don't look a day over 25. I don't know how you did that to be 25 with 30 years of experience. I like that girl. Black girl magic. Over 30 years in medicine and public health, Dr. Bill has applied her expertise to create a clean, safe, and effective personal care products for women. Because y'all know y'all got about 1,000 products y'all use in the morning. You know, that routine be routining. Y'all know, fellas, we just water. I woke up like this and start the day. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome for all this black girl magic on the stage. Now that's all. Y'all take it away.
Thank you, Marky Mark.
You're welcome.
Hello, everybody. How we feeling today? Yeah. So we're going to start off this conversation talking about the glow up, what that means to each of you. How would you define it? And I'm actually going to combine two questions in one because we have another question later about holistic approaches to glow up, because I feel like it's both. There's tangible physical changes that we can make to things, but then we also have to make inner changes to things and approach things holistically. It's never one or the other. It's always a balance of two. And I'm going to start off with a slogan that used to be a part of Carol's Daughter years ago, and it was beauty by nature. And the assumption that a lot of people made was that I was referring to natural beauty care products. But when I started Carol's Daughter 32 years ago, there were no natural beauty care products. That wasn't a category, that wasn't a thing. So it wouldn't have occurred to me to describe my company in that way. What I meant by beauty by nature was beauty was not something you could put on or take off. It's God given and it's inherent in every single person. We are all beautiful. And what cosmetics and skincare and hair care and fragrance do is just enhance what already is within you. So that's my glow up. You gotta bring out what's already inside. So I'll leave it to you too to give your definition of glow up.
Okay, so my definition of glow up is being intentional with your overall and holistic wellness. Did you guys know that there's actually 8 pillars of wellness? Oh, okay, no, we got some no's, we got some yeses. Okay, hand raised. So, like your physical, your intellectual, your social well being, your occupational well being, emotional, did I say emotional? Spiritual. So, there's 8 different pillars. So, the glow up is being able to be intentional with your wellness in all of those areas, not just, oh, I'm working out. Oh, let me eat right. But there's other areas to maximize your glow up.
So, so first, I want to just take a moment to say how thrilled I am to be on stage with Lisa Price. What many of you all don't know is that she is a major mentor in the industry. And 5 years ago, when I started Absolute Joy, I, as like Dr. Okie Doke Beal, reached out to her and said, "Could you give me some advice? Could you give me some time?" And so she took the time to sit on the phone with me for an hour to just, give me some information. So Lisa being here is really a come around moment for me, so I very much appreciate it. Now, the glow up is something that was something that I thought about when I started Absolute Joy, because my work has actually been in issues of health disparities. And so people are asking, so how do you move from health disparities to working on a skincare brand? And that's because one of the things in all these years of talking to patients, I realized is that patients are able to really embrace things or embrace changes in lifestyle when they see the impact. And so for me, by being able to talk about some of these glow up actions that we need to take and how it can manifest on your skin is one of the ways that we've been able to talk about some of the same issues that help us with our heart, with diabetes, with cancer prevention, etc. And so that whole glow up is really taking that active approach to really taking care of yourself and self-care. And one of the things that I've been saying is that, wellness and self-care is not about sitting and just, burning candles and sitting in silence. We need to be aggressively active in taking care of ourselves. And we often talk about the drinking the water and the sleep and all of that. But the big thing that we talk about a lot at Absolute Joy is toxicity. Not only toxicity in products, but toxicity in relationships, toxicity in the people around us, toxicity in our jobs, and how there is an allostatic load that we all carry with us with the stress and tension of all of the various toxicities, not just products and foods, but also in terms of the people who are around us. So I think that glow up is when you really start to take care of yourself in the same way that you take care of your children or your pets or the other people around us. And when we actually start to really prioritize ourselves the way we prioritize the people that we love, then all of these other pillars become second nature to us.
Mhm.
You talking about people seeing a difference with skincare and being able to understand that side of things. It makes me think of when transitioning was, the thing that everybody was doing. And a lot of people took different approaches. Some people did the big chop, some people transitioned slowly. But what we found just in our world with our customers is all of a sudden the barrier to exercise was gone because hair was the barrier. I can't sweat this out. I can't, I'm not going to be able. Oh, I don't know. And all of a sudden people are hot yoga classes and, even swimming and things like, so it's a beauty conversation, but for us, it ends up being health. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay, inner transformation versus outer appearance. I want to get this question correct. In your experience and work, how does inner wellness, emotional balance, self acceptance, and mental health influence our physical appearance and overall glow? Who wants to go first on that?
I'll go on that. So I think the inner work that we do is directly correlated with our bodies, physically, how we feel, how we show up. So example, mental health, emotional intelligence, all of that plays a part in how we show up. So if you think about it, if you are stressed, how does that show up? We have headaches, we have body aches, that can translate into digestive issues, right? Which now affects how we show up in our jobs, in our relationships. and all of those things. So what was the last part of that question? Second part of that question? My bad. It was loaded. And I'm like, okay, which way am I going?
It's emotional balance, self-acceptance, and mental health. How does inner wellness influence our physical appearance and overall glow?
Okay. So yes, going back to that stress, right? Have you guys ever heard of cortisol? So if you guys are not managing your stress, which is all of the inner work, it is going to show up on you physically. Okay. I don't care if you are doing all the right things, if you're working out like you're supposed to, drinking your water and minding your business like you're supposed to, right? If that stress is there, you're not gonna see no changes, or at least the ones you want to see, right? It's like we can't grow a plant if the soil is trash. Clock that, right? So taking care of that inner work will allow that plant, which is you, to flourish on the outside in the physical.
So anybody here help a friend go through a breakup? How did that friend look before the breakup, from that toxic person to after the breakup with that toxic person? That is that inner work and how it manifests. So I'm fortunate in that I am married to a lovely Black man, but the first marriage was not so lovely. And I remember when I finally got out of that marriage, I was driving down the Belt on a beautiful Belt Parkway in Brooklyn. I was just, beautiful spring day, and I had to go and take a picture for a passport photo. So I stopped at a mall, took a picture. I didn't recognize myself because I was glowing in my happiness without that stress, without that burden, without that fatigue, without all of that. And so flipping that, we have to ask ourselves then, how does success breed success? How does setting your personal boundaries in a bad situation then allow you to say no more to the bad situation, then allow you to say, I'm going to prioritize myself, then allow you to say, I'm going to drink my water, I'm going to make sure I'm rested, I'm going to get adequate help for my work-family balance. All of those things, success breeds success. And if you think that you are carrying that stress and no one knows, think about that friend that you helped through that breakup. We see it, we feel it, we express it through our faces, through our bodies, through the energy that we exude. And so these things that feel like we're carrying and don't have an effect, they absolutely do have an effect. And many of us talk about it within the context of relationships and interpersonal, but let's be real, we are in a toxic environment being Black in these United States. And so we have to recognize that there is this cortisol, this allostatic load that we carry. And again, we have to be aggressively supportive of ourselves and take care of ourselves in terms of our health and our wellness, because there are many forces trying to take that away from us.
Absolutely. This is not directly related to the question, but it's something that your conversation brought up for me. There are times when I attend different events that are not rooms such as this, where most of the people in the room look like me. There are rooms where I am the only, or I'm one of 2 or 3 people. And sometimes those events take place in hotels that are not always accustomed to having guests that look like me in them. And I have been asked for extra towels. I have been asked for ice. I have been asked when I'm going to come by the room. Mind you, I'm not wearing a uniform. I'm dressed for dinner. So, there's that. And for many years, I just dealt with it and I didn't say anything. And then I decided that's not going to change unless I expose it. And I exposed it. And I was on a panel and I spoke to the room that did not look like me and asked, how many of you were asked to bring towels to a room today? And it was important that that happened because no one in the room realized that this was a reality. And it didn't just happen at that hotel. It had happened to me several times before. And so sometimes you have to call out the thing as the thing, especially now when people want us to think that we're making this crap up. So you have to call out the thing, and remember that in you managing your day to day and managing your health, you're always managing extra just by being who you are in this country. And we forget that. And we're always carrying more than others. Always. Always. Even when things are great. I can't catch a cab in New York. I use Uber because I can't be bothered with watching the car go across 5 lanes of traffic to pick up somebody else who's white instead of me. So I don't deal with it. All right. I'm gonna stop now. Moving on to fitness. And I'm guessing you're the expert on this one.
Thanks.
Fitness as a catalyst. How do regular physical activities or mindful movement practices contribute beyond physical strength and flexibility, perhaps influencing our confidence, regulating our mood, and changing our perception of ourselves?
Okay. You guys heard if you look good, you feel good, right? Have you guys heard of the 4 happy hormones that we have? Okay, I like to call it the dose of wellness. So you have your dopamine, your oxytocin, your serotonin, and your endorphins. These are the hormones that we naturally have in our body that regulates our happiness and our good moods, okay? So being intentional with triggering those releases is important. How do you do that? I'm so glad you asked. Movement, physical movement, working out. If you're working out to music, that also helps with like endorphins. If you're working out with a buddy, or you're working out in a group, or going to a group fitness classes. So there's different aspects of moving your body and incorporating different things to making sure that we are releasing those happy hormones. If we do that, we feel good. If we feel good, we're more productive, we're happy, right? Just think about if you're not having a great day and you're not in a good mood compared to if you're having a great day and you are in a good mood. Just also think about how you make decisions, how you navigate your day, okay? So physical movement, even if it's just 5 minutes, all you need is 5 minutes. You know, everybody says, I'm busy, I'm busy. No, if you were to take out your phone, go to your Instagram and see how long you were on there, your daily, okay? So you got 5 minutes. So even if it's just 5 minutes, sneaking that in the beginning of your day, during your lunch, at the end of your work day, because you're probably sitting at the desk all day anyway. Most of y'all said that earlier, right? So just making sure that you are intentional about doing that movement because it will set the trajectory of your day.
So I just want to
Absolutely.
actually combine these 2 comments. Imagine, so let's talk about some action. Imagine if every time you were annoyed at work or at a conference or whatever, you said, hold that thought, I'm going to go walk around the block. I did that one day and walked 5 miles, but that's another. But imagine if, because this is a microaggression, right, that we experience, but then imagine if you take that and say, okay, let me just reset by going for a walk just around the block. It does so much. And the benefits of physical activity are dementia, cancer, cardiovascular. I mean, it is real benefits. So let's take what is bringing us down and then turn that into our response as an action that lifts us up. And it just has to be just one walk around the block. Now, if it's a walk every time you get annoyed, then that's another issue. Again, then you got to get out of that situation. But let's turn that around.
Absolutely. Movement is so key. And when you get older, so I'm going to be 63 in May. And when you get older, your body lets you know that you did not move. And it's not nice about it. It's very rude. Very rude. And I have learned, and I wish I knew this when I was in my 30s and 40s, not that I was inactive, I was active, but I didn't appreciate what it was. Like I looked at exercise back then as there's a goal in mind of a dress or an event that I'm attending and I have to look a certain way. I didn't recognize it as this is how you function. and you get to a certain age where it's non-negotiable. Would you like to continue walking? Yeah, let's move. Because things just start to stiffen up. So don't look at it as I have to join a class, I have to go to Soul Cycle, I got to do this step thing. Just turn on some music and dance in your living room. Walk around the block. You did chair exercises earlier. All of that is movement. Do something. It makes a huge difference. Okay, we have 3 minutes and then we have to do question and answer. So I think we spoke about mental health and physical vitality. We talked about the hormones, how you have less stress, but we haven't spoken about nutrition. Nourishment from within. What role does nutrition play in fueling both physical performance and internal well-being? Can you share any specific dietary habits or trends that will help to accelerate the glow up process?
Minimizing your processed foods. That's first and foremost. Your diet should be full of whole foods, okay? Um, so one tip that I will give you guys is when you do go grocery shopping, shop the perimeter first. If you notice the perimeter is full of minus the bakery, skip that part. The fruits, the veggies, all of your fresher foods are on the perimeter. So make that a priority when you guys are shopping. But if you also think about gas in the car, if you're pitting in the wrong gas, how is that going to, how is that car going to perform, right? So we want to make sure that we are pitting in the optimal gas, in the car so that it could be able to perform properly. So your food does fuel you and your energy, okay? And even, you guys heard of the itis? What kind of food do you eat when you get the itis? Okay, everything I just said, skip, in the aisles, right? So switch that, and if you fill your body with whole foods that are less processed, you will feel better. Again, that also does release some of those happy hormones I talked about earlier. So how you feel your body is directly correlated with your energy and how you show up as well.
So I will preface this by saying I'm highly biased because I went vegan about 15 years ago. And I did it because I read a book called The China Study, which was written by a nutritionist who had grown up on a dairy farm, and he wanted to show all the value of dairy. Every research project that he did had the opposite effect, where he found the more dairy that was consumed, the more issues that people had. And what was unique about it is that it was issues with everything. Autoimmune disease, cancer, diabetes, dementia, all of it. So the research, and I'm a nerd, all right? So I looked at the research that he quoted and went and looked at that research. And I was like, this is very compelling data. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this vegan thing for 30 days because everyone's talking about it. I felt so much better that I was like, this is the lifestyle change. Now, do I cheat? I cannot say no to a good chicken wing from time to time. But it is now a complete reset in terms of, as you're saying, whole foods and thinking about a plant-based diet. One of the things, if you walk our communities, what is the thing that you cannot find are these vegetables, fruits, whole foods. And so going back to that concept that I was talking about being aggressively supportive of ourselves and our wellness, we're going to have to get in our cars. We're going to have to travel. We're going to have to get on the train and do what we have to do in order to have access to the right kinds of foods and bring in the right kinds of foods. The other thing is, one of my rules is very simple because there's a lot of food that claims that it's vegan. And then when you read it, you're like, this is a science experiment. If my grandmother didn't recognize it as food, then I'm not eating it. And so there's a lot of stuff that you're like, this makes no sense. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be my grandmother. It could be someone's grandmother. So something like seitan, my grandmother would not have recognized it. But if you go to Asia, they would have absolutely recognized it. And so understanding that there are traditions that are frankly based on foods or plant-based foods and based on whole foods that we can all tap into. And this is not a passive process. This is not like coming out of the subway and thinking, okay, what am I going to eat tonight? Because then you end up well, Popeyes or something else. It is really about being assertively supportive of your body and what you need. And there are big steps and baby steps that we can take towards this, but that issue about food in medicine, they say food is the first medicine. So please remember that.
It's time for Q&A. While you think of your question, I'm going to offer a quick life hack from me personally. I am not a nutritionist, so this is not doctor information. If you shop at Costco, Costco sells frozen broccoli in a big bag, and inside of that big bag are 4 1-pound bags, and it's nothing but broccoli. There's no salt, there's no anything on it. You take the bag out, and you can put it on the stove and cook it, or pop the bag into the microwave and cook it. You can make a vegetable real fast. Also at Costco, there's a bag of Persian cucumbers. Persian cucumbers don't have to be peeled. The skin is not bitter. You rinse them off, throw them in a Ziploc bag. You can snack on them at any time. You can also get bags of lettuce, like 3 heads of romaine lettuce from Costco. You will be surprised how you can balance your vegetable intake quickly and inexpensively without a lot of work. It will get boring. I'm not saying you're going to do this for the rest of your life, but it's a quick life hack when you need it to be fast, because your vegetables should be making up half of your plate. And that's sometimes a hard thing to do when we're cooking them and making them from scratch and we're trying to make them interesting, but just a little life hack. Okay, questions?
Greetings and thank you for coming out here. I love when you shared about the stress component because I moved here from New York City, the Bronx. Yeah, back in July, and I had gastrointestinal stroma tumor back in April and May 2023 or so. Could you shed light on what could have caused it or so? I mean, it could have been that I lost a lot of family members, like my mom, 2 brothers, my cousin, my uncle, and all that, and bad eating or so. Could you shed light on that, please?
So none of us are in a position to talk about your care, but what we can talk about is what we know in terms of the increased likelihood or decreased likelihood of getting disease. Processed foods, as you already heard. Red meat, we got to talk about it. Pork, we got to talk about it. Stress, it really does weigh us down. And one of the issues is that we're now seeing young people in their 30s with colon cancer. Yes. And we do not know where that's coming from, right? But these lifestyle issues, and when we talk about a non-toxic lifestyle, it is the quality of our food, the quality of our water. Flint, Michigan, what are they dealing with in terms of their water there? And these issues around quality always seem to affect our communities and not others. Even oatmeal, where they use Roundup to help, get the oatmeal and get it ready. So all of this, we have to be aggressive. It is not cheap. It is not easy. It takes a lot of time. But the fact is that there are so many forces that are working to bring our health down that we need to just as equally push back to make sure that we're focused on health and wellness.
Any other questions?
Hi, thank you for being here. Thanks to the school for hosting this. Thanks everyone for coming, because if y'all didn't show up, they wouldn't host the event. So my question is more about hair. I noticed that we talked about diet, we talked about exercise, but a main component of health, I feel like just visually with someone, is how their hair is. Even if they're not wearing their natural hair, they're wearing it in a different style. I'd like to hear more about hair health. And I've noticed that the culture of hair has changed a lot. Not just natural versus relaxed, but the techniques that we're using, the products that we're using. Can you talk a little more about that and, how to navigate the life of the Black hair community, because it is getting expensive, number one, and number two, is just so many products that are flooding the market that you don't know if they're good for you or not. So what's your advice on that?
Wow. Okay. It's a whole segment of its own. But the first thing that I'll say is, when we used to relax our hair, that was a have to thing. And that was a perfunctory thing. We didn't think about what we were doing. We didn't read the package. And it wasn't until Chris Rock made a movie called Good Hair, and somebody dropped a can of soda without the soda in it, just the empty can, into the relaxer solution. That was the first time a lot of people realized, oh, that's what I'm putting on my head, right? So, and it was coming to us from an industry that looked at it as a beauty treatment. And that wasn't a beauty treatment for us. That was how we got a job. That was how we got a man. That was how we felt good about ourselves. That was how we kept a job. That's how we moved up in the church, because you had to look a certain way. We don't have to do that now. So now our hair care is about choice. There's a lot of us who color their hair now who would never have done that before, because you couldn't color and relax unless you wanted your hair to be on the floor. So we have to have patience with it. And like Ann was saying earlier, being aggressive when we're looking at what we're eating. We have to be aggressive when we're looking at what we're putting on our hair and how we're going to style it. We came up in a world of a box every 4 to 6 weeks, and that's all we did. But before there was that box, we were caring for our hair, and grandmas and aunties had remedies and, you know, solutions and things. So we have to go back to that. So there's a plethora of information online. Decipher it, see what works for you, what doesn't. Don't look for the box. When you go online and you look for the box, you look for the thing that you're going to do every 4 to 6 weeks that's going to fix it all. That doesn't exist. That was a fantasy. We had to buy into it at the time because of how things were set up. We don't need to do that anymore. So you have to do your research for what's going to work for you and for your lifestyle. For me, right now, these braids are my best friend. They've been my best friend for 2.5 years. My curls were my best friend for a really long time, but this really works for me now. I'm still taking care of my hair. I still take care of my scalp. Massage your scalp, cleanse your hair. All of this apple cider vinegar and don't use shampoo. No, get some soap up in there and clean your hair. It can be sulfate-free soap. It doesn't have to be stripping, but apple cider vinegar and baking soda is not how you cleanse your hair. You need to wash it, condition it, take care of its health before you plan for the style. So it's a whole seminar, maybe next time. But that was a great question. Thank you.
I really enjoy the panel and the subliminal Costco shout outs. So, but what's one truth about wellness that has taken you a long time to accept, but once you did, it really changed everything for you?
I have one, but if one of you wants to.
It's not that hard. All right. It is the basic numbers: 10,000 steps, a gallon of water, 8 hours of sleep, 5 good friends, and like everybody else can go someplace. It's literally it's and at one point, I made my New Year's resolution was to get like 8 hours of sleep. Transformational. It is not that hard.
I had COVID in 2022. I didn't get so sick that I had to be hospitalized or anything. But once I got past COVID, I was tired, and I was getting up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And by 11 o'clock, I wanted to go back to bed, but not for like a nap, like 3 hours. Like I really wanted to sleep. And so I'm talking to my therapist, and, I'm talking about how difficult it is. I have meetings, I have to log in, and I'm so tired and I want to go to sleep. And she said, well, you should look at this as an opportunity. I said, an opportunity for what? And she said, well, you actually don't know what tired is because you always push to exhaustion. COVID is giving you an opportunity to see what tired looks and feels like. So embrace it and learn it so that you don't override to exhaustion. And that was one of those moments where my brain said, because I didn't realize that that's what I did. So I learned what tired looks like. So that's a piggyback on, it's not that hard. Like recognize tired, and you could meet exhaustion at another time.
Awesome. We have time for one more question. Hello, everyone. Um, I have a question. It might be more directed towards Tynika, but I find people that are trying to start a workout regimen, they kind of want like a quick fix. And this whole seminar is about talking about wellness. So, how do you, as a, trainer, encourage your clients to incorporate wellness and not just come to you for the quick fix of trying to, lose a couple of pounds?
That's a good question. So even just from the beginning, like I talk about, yeah, what are your goals? Okay, I want to lose, 20 pounds. When's your birthday? By when's your birthday? And they usually say in like 2 weeks, which is not realistic. But but outside of like the physical programming, like I'll also look at their lifestyle. Like I said, even with, we talked about the stressors, so we're looking at stressors that they may have in their life. We're also looking at energy drains, right? So depending on, each client, we're customizing, the program based off of that. So even just small little things. So I actually talked to them a couple weeks ago about the Savers method, just to incorporate a few different things. Have you guys ever heard of the Savers method? I'm gonna school y'all today. So it's a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And it's you can literally do it in 6 minutes in the morning. So it's SAVERS. So S for silence, A for affirmations, V for visualization, E for exercise, R for reading, and S for scribing. So we talked about this as a way for them to start incorporating wellness activities in their day. So starting their morning with something with mental health or writing, with reflection, with visualization, with moving your body. So implementing something like that, even if it's just six minutes, just implementable things that they can do without an overhaul. Because I feel like most people think, oh my God, I have to change this, I got to do that, I got to do this. And we talked about just making those small changes, which actually makes the biggest impact. So that's one of the things that I do implement. Yeah.
And S doesn't mean social media.
Yes.
So
No.
don't pick up the phone.
No
Do
social
these-
media. No scroll.
Well, thank you to both of you, and thank you to all of you for an amazing conversation. Thank you very much.
Let's give another warm welcome to Lisa Price, Tynika Pack, and Dr. Ann Beal for that great conversation.